Welcome back to News Now. I'm Eric Dolan, and with me today in the studio is Dr. Carol Sheffield of William Patterson University's Political Science and Women's and Gender Studies departments. Professor Sheffield is an expert on the subject of violence against women. She is here today to give us her perspective on domestic violence in general and the Ray Rice incident in particular. Welcome, Dr. Sheffield.
Nice to be here, Eric.
Thank you so much for being here.
Sure.
So the Ray Rice incident has thrust the issue of domestic violence into the national conversation. So obviously, first and foremost, what was your reaction to the first time that you had seen the video, given your extensive history?
Well, of course I look at this from a scholarly perspective. My emotional response is the same as everyone else's. I was horrified, but I was also actually quite angry that the video had to be shown. It certainly re-traumatizes the victim herself and any woman who's been a victim of domestic violence. And it should not have been necessary to get the NFL to act to show that publicly.
Exactly. So the information in regards to the incident has been available for months.
Yes.
It's something that happened at the end of the summer.
Yes.
So what does it say about where we are at as a society that, although this information has been made public and it had been known and he had been suspended by the NFL for a limited, a very minimal sentence, it took a video being released by TMZ, of all outlets, to create this sort of outrage and begin this conversation, eventually get him suspended?
Well, I think what it says is that there is male dominance in society, and particularly in a profitable business like the NFL, and they did not want to lose a star player, and they trivialized the issue of violence against women. They have a long history of doing that. And so they were not going to move until they were forced by public outrage.
What is playing that character like for you? Because that's a very extreme sort of set of circumstances and a very interesting role, this like motherly quality, but also in an area in which, you know, you need that sort of support too. So what's it like sort of trying to get to that place, and you're in Tech Week now. How's it been sort of creating this character?
At first it was hard, especially when I first got the character. I was like, oh my God, she can be so cold, but it's really, it's a facade in a way. And so it's really just getting down to the meat of the character and realizing, and then you realize, oh my God, we have so much in common. So it's
What's one thing that you do have in common with Mom and Nani, minus the brothel, because you told me earlier.
Yes, I don't run a brothel. Leading with your heart is something I definitely have in common, and just everything is about taking that time, that moment, and just doing things based on, you know, what you feel.
Awesome. So what has the production been like so far? I know you're working with Dr. Stropel. I did Tartuffe with her. I know she's a sweetheart. So what's it like having working on a show directed by someone like her?
Dr. Stropel is amazing. She's a really kind person. She really cares about the characters and telling the story and getting that out there and about their voices, and she makes them come alive.
Wow.
It's amazing.
What about the rest of the cast? I mean, did you know anyone going into this? You had mentioned to me you were a transfer student.
Exactly. So I was completely new. I didn't know anyone.
Wow.
I was just like, But they were so nice. Like, everyone was so nice, so warm, friendly, open, helpful. So it was a really amazing transition. I met some amazing people.
Cool. So you're in Tech Week now, like I said. Are you happy right now with where the show's at? Because I know this is a dicey period of time.
I'm really happy. There's always, as a performer, you're in the art business, you always want to take it that next level. But wow, there are some moments in the play where I'm just like, oh my God. As someone who's like gone through it a million times, I'm just like, wow.
Because you had told me you're not just theater oriented. You said you sing, you songwrite, you do a whole. Do you want to list off the various?
Singer, songwriter, actress, former gymnast.
That's new to me even. Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. So one last question before we have to let you go. To everyone watching right now, all the students out there, what is one definitive reason why they should go and see Ruin?
One reason, it's amazing. You connect to something. At first you think, oh, well, this story's unfamiliar, and then you're sitting there and you realize how many things you can relate to, you can connect with. And we're running around all day. How much time do we really get a chance to connect with someone, something bigger than ourselves or even inside of ourselves that maybe we didn't know was there.
That's beautiful. Well, that's all the time, unfortunately, that we have for today. I really want to thank my guest, Asha Moore. And just a reminder, performances of Ruined will take place November 11th to 16th in the Hunziker Black Box Theater.
I know a lot of kids grow up liking baseball, playing baseball, Little League or what have you. At what moment did you realize that it was something that you would write an entire book about? You know what I mean?
Well, you know, it's kind of funny. When I was a sophomore in high school, I was pitching summer ball. I made my first start, and I get a call from my future boss, Joe Nardini, that he wanted to hire me as a writer. And then I completely stunk in that game. So I kind of realized at that point my baseball career was dead in the water.
Yeah.
But I've loved baseball ever since I was a little kid. Awesome. I kind of graduated from Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh to baseball. And ever since like fourth grade, it's been a real part of me. And
so, I mean, what's it like to be able to like physically hold something that you've created, especially about something that you love so much? It's not just a fictional book. I mean, it's a labor of love.
You know, it's like holding a baby, except it's not going to vomit on me every time it's cranky. But it really is. Like when I got it when I got my first proof copy of it in the mail a few months ago, I was screaming with pure joy. I was so excited that, you know what, this is happening. This book is coming out, and it really is a blessing. And I'm really thankful to God and everything that my family that I have these opportunities.
Absolutely. So let's talk baseball now. Favorite player all time?
I've got a lot of them.
And I was going to say, because I said it to you before the interview, and your reaction was like, I can't.
It's hard to choose. It's hard to choose. But I think, obviously, you got Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, all the Yankee legends. But I think one of my more underrated players is Goose Gossage. He was the closer for the Yankees in the 80s. And one story I love about Gossage is that when he was in spring training, his manager, Billy Martin, came to the mound, and he said, I want you to throw at this guy. He wanted him to hit the batter because I think there was a controversy between Martin and the team they were facing. I think it was the Texas Rangers.
I don't know much about Martin, but I know he was an angry man.
Oh,
yeah.
We were talking about steroids before. Think like an angry guy on steroids drinking. But he wanted Gossage to throw at Martin, to throw at the player, and Gossage said no. And I think for Goose Gossage to stand up to Billy Martin in a spring training game, it's just kind of like that moxie that, you know what, this is baseball, this is determination, this is true grit. Not to copyright from a movie, mind you.
Yeah, absolutely not. Absolutely, yeah. Nothing to do with Western films.
Good evening and welcome to Career Paths, the show that brings alumni back to our campus to share their experiences and successes from out there in the real world. I'm your host, Eric Dolan, and I'm here with 1989 graduate and executive account specialist, Andrew Facone. Thank you so much for coming back to visit.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
First and foremost, what is it like? You were a communications major yourself.
Correct.
What's it like being in these brand spanking new TV studios?
The facilities are really impressive.
That's good to hear.
It's really, it's come a long way.
Yeah. Come along. So you graduated in 1989.
Correct.
But you packed a lot into your 4 years here. This is secondhand knowledge. I wasn't there, but football player, founded a fraternity, and this about there I'm going to need the help because there are a lot.
Okay. Worked in the admissions department here at William Patterson. Gave tours. Probably one of the best jobs I had, making I think it was $7 or $8 an hour.
That's not bad.
Stuffed a lot of envelopes pre-electronic because when there were requests for information on prospective students coming to the school, that was what you gave them stuff in an envelope and it went through the snail mail.
Okay, and you met your wife there.
Correct, we did meet here.
Wow, that's serious.
So I owe a lot to this university.
Absolutely.
To say the least.
So as you're here, as you're doing all this stuff, I mean, as a college student, it's time management. Everyone talks about it, and then you're actually in college and doing it. It's extremely difficult. So how did you find a way while you were here to get all that stuff done? Finding a fraternity, that I can't even imagine how much time that must have.
A lot of the things that we did in high school, we did in college, we're continuing the same thing now in the real world, in the working world, so to speak. And it's allocating your time and putting the right amount of time into those individual efforts, sports, studying, and then the extracurricular activities, and trying to keep it in balance. And that was how I basically did it, because a lot of my friends that I'm still friends with, that I played with, and that I'm still involved with the university, we all did the same thing. We all had that same mindset. So I think it's a special type of student that comes here to William Patterson, because we're not the silver-spooned privileged, so to speak.
No, sir.
We're hardworking.
Yeah.
We know what we want to do, and we're very goal-minded in what
Absolutely.
we're trying to do.
So what would you say to students or even parents who don't believe in a communications degree? Like, I'm not going to get a job in communications. What do you say to them?
I would say that, one, if you have a passion for something and you truly love something, and then you can find a job in that industry, it's not work. I love what I do. I love everything that I'm involved in, and you must pursue your passion. How many people do you know, or other people may know, that they have a great job, but they're miserable?
Oh, yeah.
You need to be happy first. You're pursuing your passion. That's why you're involved with the communication, being a host like
that's
you
why
are
I'm
right now.
Literally, right. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's about having that passion. If you love what you do, then it will materialize. And I also go back to that desire point. If you have the degree from here in communication or any of the other degrees that the university offers, you'll find that opportunity, because when there's chaos for everybody else, oh, the sky's falling,
Yeah.
there's opportunity for that person if they have that desire.
All right, one last question real quick. You go back in time. You can give your 20-year-old self one piece of advice. What is it?
I think that piece of information would be worry less and trust your gut. And I've had various situations, both personally and professionally, that have happened to me. And I tell everybody when I give this story, you were successful in grammar school, which got you to high school. And high school was successful, which got you to college. And then you've probably been successful to get to this point right now, regardless of your age or where you are. You've been successful. You're doing the right thing. So I guess I should take more of my own advice and worry less and just continue on the path, because it all works out.
Awesome. I'm all about that. Oh, I'd like to thank my guest, Andrew, so much for coming back to Canvas today. And thank you so much for watching this. We'll see you next time.
Thank you very much.